Picture this. The grocery aisle you've walked down for years suddenly stripped bare. No bread, no canned goods, no water. It looks like a movie scene, but for millions of Americans living through rising prices, power outages, and broken supply chains, this is the new reality. FEMA has already sounded the alarm, warning that food shortages in 2025 could come faster than anyone expects. And here's the truth. When shelves go empty, it doesn't matter how much cash you carry. If the essentials are gone, you're left with nothing but stress and regret. That's why building a stockpile isn't panic. It's peace of mind. In this video, we're breaking down 12 grocery items you must stockpile right now in August 2025. These aren't random guesses. They come from FEMA guidelines, survival experts, and real lessons from past shortages. Each one is designed to stretch your budget, keep you nourished, and give your family security when the lights go out and the trucks stop rolling. Let's start with the single most critical resource, something you can't survive more than 3 days without. Item 1, water supply and purification. What looks like just a household utility bill can suddenly turn into a survival challenge, because without water, nothing else matters. FEMA warns that every person needs at least 1 gallon per day, not just for drinking, but also for basic hygiene. For a family of 4, that's nearly 30 gallons a week. Most households don't even have 2 days' worth on hand. And here's the kicker. In 2028, the water service interruptions are happening more often than ever. From Jackson, Mississippi's brown taps to contamination alerts in small towns, thousands of U.S. water systems reported problems last year. When the tap runs dry, panic buying starts and shelves of bottled water vanish in hours. That's why smart families prepare now, stock factory-sealed bottles, invest in large food-grade containers, or tuck stackable jugs under beds and in closets. Pair that with purification tablets, portable filters, or even a gravity-fed system so you can make questionable water safe to drink. Dehydration doesn't just weaken your body, it clouds your judgment, slows your reactions, and drains your energy. In a crisis, clear thinking can save your life. Start your stockpile with water, because without it, everything else becomes useless. And once your water supply is secure, the next step is food that can keep you fed even if the power goes out. Item 2, ready-to-eat canned foods. Here's the reality. Every extra dollar at checkout today buys less than it did last year. Eggs are still 27% more expensive than mid-2024, and beef prices have jumped over 10%. When fresh food runs short or your fridge goes dark, canned goods become survival gold. FEMA calls these non-perishables must-haves for a reason. Canned meats, beans, vegetables, and soups last for years, don't need refrigeration, and can be eaten straight from the can if power is out. That's not just convenience. That's independence from a fragile supply chain. We've seen how fast shelves can empty. One viral TikTok recipe or sudden panic wave, and the entire canned aisle is stripped bare in hours. If you wait until that moment, you'll either pay double or walk away with nothing. The smartest move? Build variety into your stash. Stock protein-rich tuna or chicken, nutrient-dense beans, vitamin-packed veggies, and hearty soups. Rotate them every year so nothing goes to waste, and you'll always have a fresh supply. Think of canned food as more than groceries. It's time, security, and control you've already paid for. And once the basics are covered, it's time to think about quick fuel for when exhaustion sets in. Item 3, high-energy snacks, bars, nuts, and trail mix. Sometimes survival isn't about a full meal. It's about the handful of fuel that keeps you moving when your body feels like shutting down. Think about it. Cereal bars, protein bars, nuts, and trail mix aren't just snacks. They're portable, calorie-dense lifelines. In fact, U.S. consumers spent over $10 billion on snack bars in the past year, with steady growth even as other food categories slowed. Why? Because people instinctively know these foods last, travel well, and provide energy when fresh options aren't available. Picture a blackout night. The fridge is useless, you're tired, and cooking isn't an option. That's when a simple bar or handful of trail mix keeps your mind sharp and your body steady. They're lightweight, shelf-stable, and require zero preparation, making them as valuable as bottled water in an emergency stash. And here's the catch. During shortages, these snacks disappear fast. Just like toilet paper in 2020, once panic sets in, the shelves clear overnight. Stock them now while prices are reasonable and you won't be left scrambling later. Quick fuel is critical, but you'll also need foods that fill you up and stretch your budget longer. That's where basic staples like rice and pasta come in. Item 4, rice, pasta, and other carb essentials. When money is tight and shelves are thinning out, the cheapest way to stay full is still the oldest: carbs. Rice, pasta, oats, and flour aren't glamorous, but they're calorie-dense, easy to store, and form the backbone of meals that can stretch for days. Here's the hidden danger. These items are among the first to vanish when panic buying hits. We saw it during the pandemic. Pasta aisles wiped clean within hours. Rice bags rationed to one per customer. Why? Because everyone knows carbs are affordable fuel. A single 20-pound bag of rice can keep a family fed for weeks at a fraction of the cost of fresh groceries. Even better, carbs are versatile. Rice pairs with canned beans for complete protein. Pasta turns a small amount of sauce into a family dinner. Oats double as breakfast or baking filler. Properly sealed in buckets or Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, these staples can last 10 to 20 years, making them one of the best inflation-proof buys you can make. Think of carbs as the foundation of your emergency pantry. They're cheap, filling, and resilient against shortages. But survival isn't just about being full. You'll also need compact foods that deliver protein and fat in every bite. That's where peanut butter and shelf-stable staples step in. Item 5, peanut butter, powdered milk, and instant cereals. When the fresh aisle is empty and refrigeration is unreliable, these staples step up as true survival fuel. Peanut butter is calorie-dense, rich in protein and healthy fats, and shelf-stable for up to a year. Just one spoonful delivers enough energy to keep you going when meals are scarce. Powdered milk is another quiet hero. FEMA recommends rotating box varieties every 6 months, but nitrogen-packed cans can last several years. In a crisis, it's more than just a drink. It's a substitute for cooking, baking, and providing calcium and protein when dairy disappears. And don't overlook instant cereals. They're easy to store, require no refrigeration, and give quick carbs that keep both kids and adults satisfied. During shortages, they become comfort disguised as nutrition, something that keeps routines intact. Here's the truth. Viral food trends can empty cereal shelves in hours. But if you've already stocked these staples, you won't be forced into frantic store runs or paying double for what used to be cheap. These aren't extras, they're lifelines. Together, peanut butter, powdered milk, and cereals create a fallback system that bridges the gap between scarcity and security. And once the essentials are covered, don't forget the emotional side of survival. Comfort foods that protect your sanity as much as your stomach. Item 6, comfort and stress. Foods says coffee, candy, cookies. Survival isn't just about calories. It's about it's about morale. When stress piles up, even small comforts can keep families calm and functioning. That's why coffee, tea, candy, and cookies earn a place in any serious stockpile. After disasters, researchers have found people gravitate toward familiar indulgences even when healthier choices are available. Psychologists call it stress eating, but in a blackout or shortage, it's more than that. It's a mental anchor. A cup of coffee during a freezing night or a piece of hard candy for a crying child restores a sense of normalcy when everything else feels uncertain. The bonus, these items often have long shelf lives. Hard candy lasts for years if stored dry. Instant coffee can stay usable almost indefinitely, and vacuum-packed cookies or crackers can stretch months beyond their best-by date. During the 2021 Texas freeze, coffee sales spiked by more than 30% in 1 week, not because people were suddenly drinking more, but because they feared running out. That fear becomes scarcity in hours. By setting aside comfort foods now, you're not being frivolous. You're investing in stability. When nerves are frayed and patience runs thin, a little sugar, caffeine, or crunch can buy peace in the middle of chaos. But comfort only goes so far. To actually eat the staples you've stored, you'll need the right tools. Item 7, manual can opener and disposable utensils. Imagine this. You've stocked cases of soup, beans, and vegetables. The power's out, the streets are empty, and dinner depends on those cans. But when you reach for them, there's no way to open them. That single oversight can turn a well-prepared pantry into frustration and hunger. FEMA's checklists, along with New York City's emergency guidelines, all highlight one critical fact. A manual can opener is non-negotiable. Unlike electric gadgets, it never fails when the grid goes down. It's small, cheap, and yet it's the difference between eating calmly and staring at sealed cans. And it's not just the opener. Disposable utensils, plates, and cups are just as vital. In a crisis, water becomes precious, and washing dishes may not be possible. Having lightweight, single-use cutlery makes eating safe, fast, and stress-free. The surprising truth? After major disasters, many households with stocked pantries still fail because they overlook these minor tools. But tools matter as much as food. Add a sturdy can opener and packs of disposable utensils directly to your emergency stash. Don't leave them floating in random drawers. Because when the lights are out and the world feels uncertain, the right tool at the right moment is as important as the food itself. And while tools make eating possible, your body still needs protection beyond calories. That's where vitamins and supplements come in. Item 8, vitamins and nutritional supplements. A pantry full of carbs and canned goods may keep you full, but it won't always keep you healthy. In fact, long-term shortages can quietly strip your body of the nutrients it needs to function. FEMA stresses calories, but doctors warn, without vitamins, you risk more than hunger. You risk weakness, illness, and fatigue. Even in normal times, 1 in 10 Americans is deficient in key vitamins like D, selenium, and iron. Now imagine weeks without fresh produce, dairy, or meat. Energy crashes, bone strength declines, and immunity weakens. That's when simple supplements, Ashuing, can make the difference between just surviving and staying strong. Multivitamins, vitamin C, zinc, and even probiotics are compact, affordable, and long-lasting. A single shoebox can hold a year's supply for an entire family. Powdered protein or greens powder add another layer of security, replacing what's missing when fresh food is off the table. And here's the bonus. Supplements can also improve recovery. Studies from the NIH show certain vitamins and minerals may shorten illness duration, critical when medical care is delayed. Think of vitamins as insurance for your body. Calories keep you alive. Nutrients keep you capable. Without them, every task feels harder. With them, you maintain the strength to keep going. But if someone in your family has allergies or special dietary needs, there's another layer you can't afford to overlook. Item 9, infant formula and special diet supplies. Some foods you can substitute in a pinch, but not formula for infants, nor allergy-safe staples for those with health restrictions. In an emergency, these aren't luxuries. They're life or death necessities. Over 32 million Americans live with food allergies, and millions more struggle with gluten or lactose intolerance. For them, the wrong food isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. And for babies, the formula shortage of 2 showed us how fragile supply chains really are, with nearly half the products out of stock for months. That was during normal times. Imagine what happens in a real crisis. If your household depends on special supplies, gluten-free flour, dairy-free milk, nut-free snacks, low-sodium meals, or infant formula, you must stock at least 2 to 4 weeks' worth. FEMA and pediatric experts recommend having bottled water alongside formula, since clean water isn't always guaranteed. The rule is simple. You cannot improvise a baby's nutrition or an allergy-safe diet. There is no replacement on the shelf once it's gone. That's why labeling and separating these supplies in your stockpile is critical. Rotate them regularly, and don't forget pet diets if you have animals depending on you. This is about more than survival. It's about safeguarding the most vulnerable in your home. And once their needs are covered, the next question is, how do you keep everyone fed when the stove goes cold? Item 10, portable cooking gear and fuel. When the grid goes down, your kitchen turns into a museum. The microwave, the electric stove, even your coffee maker. Useless. That's when portable cooking gear transforms from camping luxury into survival necessity. The 2021 Texas blackout proved this reality. millions of families sat in cold homes with stocked pantries, but no way to boil water or heat food. Grocery shelves emptied, but even those who had food struggled, because without a stove, canned soup is just a cold can. A small propane or butane stove can be a game changer. They're compact, affordable, and strong enough to boil water in minutes. FEMA recommends storing multiple fuel canisters so you can cook for several days. For long-term resilience, consider multi-fuel stoves or even solar cookers when gas runs out. Don't overlook cookware either. Lightweight mess kits are designed for quick cleaning with little water, something your regular pots can't promise when the tap is dry. And always remember safety. Cook with ventilation, store fuel away from heat, and test your gear before an emergency. The difference between a cold can of beans and a hot meal isn't just comfort, it's morale. Warm food restores energy and confidence in a crisis. And if you want to go beyond just getting by, there's one type of food designed specifically for long-term survival. Freeze-dried meals and MREs. Item 11, freeze-dried foods and MREs. Not every crisis lasts a few days. Some drag on for weeks, even months. That's where freeze-dried meals and MREs, meals ready to eat, prove their worth. Originally designed for the military, they're compact, calorie-dense, and built to last 10 to 20 years if stored properly. The advantage is twofold: longevity and convenience. Unlike canned goods, freeze-dried foods are lightweight and require only hot water to rehydrate. A single pouch can provide a full, balanced meal without taking up much space. MREs go even further. Self-contained meals with entrees, oysters, snacks, and even flameless heaters to warm your food without fire or fuel. In a prolonged grid failure or major disaster, these aren't just backups. They're the bridge between surviving and staying sane. Imagine having variety when others are stuck eating the same two items over and over. A beef stroganoff pouch or a chili MRE might feel like a luxury, but in survival mode, morale matters. While they can be more expensive up front, think of them as an insurance policy. Food that waits quietly until you need it most. Start with a week's supply and expand over time. But no stockpile is complete without the simplest, cheapest foundations. The ingredients that flavor meals, preserve food, and stretch calories further. Item 12, salt, sugar, and cooking oil. When panic buying hits, people rush for bottled water and bread. But the quiet essentials, salt, sugar, and cooking oil, often vanish just as quickly, and without them, even the best stocked pantry feels incomplete. Salt is more than flavor. It's critical for health, food preservation, and morale. In past shortages, salt became one of the most hoarded items because it lasts indefinitely and enhances nearly everything you cook. Sugar carries the same weight. It's energy-dense, comforting, and versatile, used for baking, preserving fruit, or simply keeping spirits up during stressful days. Properly stored in airtight containers, sugar never really expires. And then there's cooking oil, one of the first items to spike in price whenever supply chains crack. From frying to baking to adding calories, oil stretches meals and keeps you full longer. Vegetable oil may last a year on the shelf, but options like coconut or ghee extend much further. Together, these three staples transform survival food into real meals. They preserve, they fuel, and they lift flavor when everything else tastes dull. Cheap today, priceless tomorrow, especially when shortages turn simple basics into black market luxuries. And now that you've seen all 12 essentials, it's time to step back and remember why preparation isn't about fear. It's about control, peace, and protecting the people you love. You've now seen the 12 essentials that can carry your household through shortages, blackouts, and price spikes. Water, canned goods, staples, comfort foods, and even the tools to prepare them. Each item is more than a grocery purchase. It's a layer of protection against chaos. Here's the truth. Most people will hear advice like this and do nothing. They'll wait until the headlines scream shortage, until shelves are stripped bare, and until prices double overnight. By then it's too late, but you have a choice right now. Start small. Pick up an extra bag of rice, a few gallons of water, or a jar of peanut butter each time you shop. Piece by piece, you'll build security that no crisis can take from you. Preparedness isn't panic, it's peace of mind. And when the next storm, blackout, or supply chain failure hits, you'll be the one calmly opening your pantry instead of standing in an empty aisle. So, which of these 12 essentials will you grab first? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more guides that keep your family safe and ready.